What's up? This is John from John Brands for Photography. And if you've been following along for a moment, you know that currently I am renting the GFX 100. This thing couldn't be more of a dream, and I hope to own one day. But yeah, the photos coming out of it are absolutely amazing. But while I was talking about the GFX 100, you all asked me to compare the GFX 100 with the X-T4, and I was like, you know what? That's actually a good idea. So today I have a photo shoot coming up where I'm gonna take the GFX 100 with the 63 f2.8 versus the X-T4 with the 35 f2. Those are probably the closest in focal length we can get. And mind you, this is nothing scientific. We're talking medium format versus crop sensor. There's no point in arguing that. But let's see, is it really worth upgrading all the way to a $10,000 camera, or can you get some pretty dope shots out of a crop sensor as well? I have a model I'm gonna meet up with. We're gonna take some dope photos. So yeah, let's go ahead and head out to the shoot. So for this session, I went to a local park. If you're new to photography and looking for a place to practice, local parks are the best place to go. Just make sure to find the park that has some nice tree coverage and some different scenes as well. You don't want an open field because you can only take but so many photos there. All the photos you're seeing between both cameras are shot in compressed RAW. I tried to keep everything as similar as possible, and we lucked out with a nice cloudy day, so all the lighting is very even. If you haven't had a chance, make sure to check out the live stream where I edit all these photos and match them right there on the stream. Another tip while you're practicing, make sure to pay attention to where your light is. In this scene, we walked into a wooded area of the park, and the light is being funneled in from the trees directly behind me. So think kind of like a tunnel. That's how I was able to light her up in front of me and then keep the rest of the scene in its own ambient light. Don't be afraid to ask your models to do something a little bit out of the norm. I had her sitting in the tall grass here so that I could get foreground and background blur. I really love the way these photos turned out. So one of the biggest differences between the GFX 100 and the X-T4, besides the sensor, is actually the crop. On the GFX 100, we're doing a typical 8x10, I believe it is, and on the X-T4, we have a 2x3. So matching the photos actually was a little hard for me, just going through having to make sure the crops are generally about the same. Also, one thing you'll notice is that the GFX's focal length is a little bit more flattering than the X-T4's 35mm. The 63mm is a little bit wider, which is giving her a little bit of a skinnier look. So for this last section of the shoot, I actually had my GFX in high shutter mode, and it actually could keep up with all of the movement, which was amazing. 5 frames a second is actually pretty good and enough to keep up with weddings. I love taking fun shots like this with motion in them, so it was really cool to see that the GFX 100 could keep up with that. So what did you think of those photos? I'm actually pretty surprised at how close I was able to get the X-T4 to the GFX 100. So some of you all might be asking some questions and thinking to yourself, well, why get the GFX 100 when the X-T4 can look so good in comparable shots? So let's actually real quick talk about who the GFX is for and how I would personally use it myself. So the first thing I would have to say is I would totally use this at a wedding. I don't think it's fast enough to keep up with a reception, but the rest of the day, from the start of the day, would be perfect for the GFX 100. From everybody getting ready to the ceremony itself, portraits, and maybe even speeches at the reception, the GFX 100 could totally handle all of that. I was extremely surprised at how fast this thing focuses and how well the continuous autofocus does on that 110 f2. So yes, you can use this at a wedding. And you're maybe thinking, well, 100 megapixels, that's kind of overkill. The files are actually not that big. I shot everything you saw in this video in compressed. So both the X-T4 and the GFX were shooting compressed RAW. And the compressed RAW files coming out of the GFX 100 were only about 65 megabytes, which actually is not so bad. My computer was able to handle the files fine, and I was able to edit nice and quickly. If you haven't had a chance to check out the live stream of me actually editing the GFX files to match them to the X-T4, definitely check that out right up above. But who is the GFX for? Obviously, it costs a lot of money. So for the most part with wedding photography, technically, I would say it's a no-go. Unless you're booking $5,000 to $10,000 weddings, you don't really need the GFX. Something like the X-T3, the X-T4 will perform just well and give you the quality that you want. But if you're doing commercial work, fashion photography, or anything that needs to be printed very large like billboards or even cropped down super hard, those are the people the GFX 100 is for. Obviously, that's a very niche crowd of photographers, but that's gonna be the best use because you're also gonna be getting paid worth enough for the GFX 100. Now, do I wish I had one myself? Honestly, yes. In my live stream, I priced out 2 GFX 100s and 4 lenses, and that thing came to like 30K. I don't have that kind of money. I don't book those kind of weddings. So maybe one day I'll own some GFXs, but really for the most part, it's not for wedding photographers. It's not for your general working photographers. It's for larger commercial, fashion, magazine, print type photographers. But can it perform? Yes, it can definitely keep up with the XT series. Obviously, the shutter is not as fast, but the IBIS and the focusing and just everything surprised me at how well it was shooting this camera. It literally felt like a beefy XT1 or something. So definitely, if you have a chance to check out the GFX 100, do it because it is mind-blowing. I absolutely loved using it. So I hope you like that little comparison between the X-T4 and the GFX 100. Again, this was nothing scientific. We're talking crop sensor versus medium, so there's no point in nitpicking. Obviously, the medium format has much more quality, much more depth of field. But on the same end, as you saw how closely I was able to match those files, this is another argument about full frame being overrated. If I can get great looking stuff out of a crop sensor, I don't necessarily need full frame. Remember, your camera is the tool that you use. If you're a good photographer, you're a good photographer. Full frame, crop, medium format, regardless. You're gonna be good for you, not the camera. So let's not sit here and start arguing sensor sizes because it matters so much. Thanks again for hanging out on the channel. I hope you like this video. Stick around for some more GFX 100 videos while I have it, and subscribe for more information on photography, creative entrepreneurship, and anything of that sort. I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.